In the shadows of Chongqing's glittering skyscrapers, groups of hungry youths quietly rummage through supermarket dumpsters at night. They are not rebels, just starving. An undercover journalist from Hong Kong described the scene starkly. The poverty here is worse than anything I saw in rural Cambodia. It's not only unemployed workers. The invisible poor are now visible across major cities like Wuhan, where each dawn begins with orders to clear the homeless from train stations. A station worker revealed, "We're not allowed to help, just to push them out of sight." Social media is flooded with heartbreaking posts. "We'll do any work for food." A 54-year-old man from Shandong wrote, "No meat in 20 days. I'll clean your toilet for 10 yuan. In cities like Zhengzhou and Xi'an, entire families, grandparents, parents, and children are crammed into cramped apartments without clean water or electricity. Online forums are filled with survival tips: how to cook weeds, how to stretch one bowl of rice for 3 meals. The job market is collapsing with data from recruitment platforms like Boss Zhipin, showing an 80% drop in job listings for sectors like construction and manufacturing. Many recent graduates accept degrading government internships paying just 800 yuan a month if they're paid at all. The gig economy is also crumbling. Delivery workers now sleep in storage boxes to avoid rent. A heartbreaking video from Hangzhou captured a delivery rider sobbing after being fined for eating instant noodles on a curb. Municipal budgets are drying up, shelters are overcrowded, and officials are instructed not to solve the problem, but to hide it. A whistleblower from Nanjing's Civil Affairs Bureau admitted, "We were told to clear the streets, not to help people. Make them invisible. That's the directive." A wave of natural disasters. Tornado wreaks havoc in Zhaoqing. Amid the struggle with poverty and unemployment, natural disasters have dealt further blows. On the afternoon of August 7th, a sudden tornado tore through Jinsheng Industrial Zone in Jinli Town, Zhaoqing, city Guangdong province, causing significant damage. The ferocious winds ripped off metal roofing sheets, sending them spiraling into the sky alongside countless debris. Several structures from factories to shops were severely damaged, with roofs torn apart and roller shutters completely destroyed. A witness at the scene recounted, "The wind was so powerful that a large advertising sign was ripped away right before my eyes, crashing onto a car. It was terrifying. I've never seen anything like it." Other residents reported iron gates, awnings, and trees being uprooted, creating chaos across the area. The deputy mayor of Jinli Town stated that in addition to factory roofs, several utility poles and traffic signs were also damaged. Businesses have been ordered to inspect their facilities to ensure safety and prevent further collapses or accidents. The Gaoyao District Meteorological Bureau, in collaboration with the Foshan Tornado Research Center, confirmed the tornado occurred around 3:12 p.m. on August 7th and was classified as a weak tornado lasting 2 to 3 minutes. However, authorities warn that such extreme weather events could recur, urging residents to remain vigilant. Damage assessments are ongoing, with a detailed report expected in the coming days. Economic crisis and social impacts. The combination of economic collapse and natural disasters like the Zhaoqing tornado exacerbates the hardships faced by the Chinese people. The crumbling job market has pushed millions into poverty, from recent graduates to middle-aged workers. In Guangdong, even basic service jobs are scarce. One worker shared, "I left my hometown in Jiangxi for Guangdong to find work, but after over a month, I don't have a single penny. I can't even afford a bus ticket." Many are forced to return to their hometowns, with dozens of buses packed with people leaving Guangdong daily. On social media, stories of desperation are increasingly common. A graduate from a prestigious university shared, "I earned a master's degree, but after 8 months of job hunting, I haven't received a single offer. Now I deliver food to survive." Another described homeless people sleeping under bridges, from elderly women to young girls, while authorities focus on evicting rather than aiding them. China's economy is in free fall, with the Consumer Price Index (CPI) and Producer Price Index (PPI) declining continuously, signaling persistent deflation. Exports to the U.S. dropped 34.5% in May, the steepest fall since the pandemic, while imports fell 3.4%, indicating factories are shutting down due to a lack of raw materials. In this context, the Zhaoqing tornado is not just a natural disaster, but a symbol of a nation grappling with deep cracks from a collapsing economy to vulnerable infrastructure. While authorities claim a 5.3% economic growth in the first half of the year, the Chinese people are living a harsh reality where hope is dwindling and survival has become the sole objective. Beijing's hidden flood tragedy, destruction, concealment, and a community in ruin. According to multiple residents, torrential rain struck on July 26th, continuing for several hours into the night. Around midnight, a normally shallow stream, no more than ankle deep, suddenly swelled with astonishing force. Within moments, the water depth rose to approximately 2.3 meters, and the width expanded to more than 150 meters. The torrent surged through the town, reaching the height of a 3-story building. Entire houses were swallowed. Vehicles, roads, bridges, and centuries-old trees were swept away in a matter of minutes. Liulimiao, located where the Liuli River and Baihe River converge, is known for its campsites and riverside tourism. With more than 300 guest houses, the area had been bustling with visitors seeking a summer escape. But that night, the town turned into a disaster zone. Many guest houses suffered catastrophic damage. In some cases, the floodwaters tore through entire buildings, leaving nothing but rubble and twisted metal. A villager recounted that Liulimiao has few formal parking areas, forcing most vehicles to be left along the outer ring roads near the riverbanks. When the waters surged, more than 1,000 vehicles were either washed away or buried in mud. In nearby Anjobakun, dozens of cars were left submerged under thick layers of silt. The scale of the loss was overwhelming. Upstream witnesses revealed an even more alarming detail. Several reservoirs had discharged water simultaneously, significantly increasing the flood's destructive power. One villager stated that many residents of Liulimiao were buried by mudslides and estimated that at least 100 people had died, far more than what official channels have acknowledged. Authorities have sealed off information prohibiting locals from sharing casualty figures. Rescue teams are still searching for missing persons, but the chances of survival grow slimmer with each passing day. Many people have not been found. One resident lamented, and the smell of decay is already heavy in the air. Scenes from the disaster zone are harrowing. Mangled vehicles are strewn across the landscape, many piled atop each other like discarded toys. Some lie half buried in mud, while others rest precariously on collapsed riverbanks. Rescue workers continue to search along the waterways, checking inside vehicles for trapped occupants. One Beijing resident posting under the name Jin Liu Bao said she had spoken to a campsite owner who lost both his mother and child when their car was swept away. Another witness using the screen name Boluo City wrote simply, "Many people were taken by the water. The tragedy was not confined to Liulimiao." In Taishi, another settlement within the disaster zone, residents reported seeing cars swept down flooded streets with people still inside. A local rescuer explained that on the morning after the floods, search teams focused their efforts along the river following the trail of destruction. "The stench is everywhere," he said, describing the urgent need for large-scale disinfection to prevent disease outbreaks. It's even stronger inside the villages. Footage from social media shows entire streets in Taishi under sanitation operations, with workers spraying chemicals to neutralize the smell of decay. Observers say the scale of the operation and the speed at which it was deployed suggest authorities are aware of significant casualties, even if the official death toll remains low. Some online users have remarked that the number of missing people is far higher than what's being reported, while others caution that this is a secret you can't just ask about. Adding to the tension, residents report that conversations about the disaster are being closely monitored. Questions about the real death toll are met with silence or warnings. Yet despite the fear, videos and testimonies continue to emerge, painting a grim picture of what happened that night. The flood was not simply the result of heavy rainfall. Local accounts suggest that upstream reservoir discharges, whether intentional or poorly coordinated, greatly intensified the destruction. In mountainous regions like Huairu, such releases can rapidly transform a rising river into a lethal wall of water. With little warning, entire neighborhoods can be wiped out. Liulimiao's geography made it particularly vulnerable. Positioned at the meeting point of two rivers with its tourism infrastructure built close to the banks, the town had long been at risk during extreme weather. Yet many locals say they were never adequately warned about the danger, nor were there clear evacuation plans. When the water came, it was too late for many to escape. Among the most striking images from the aftermath are those of the cars, thousands of them scattered across mud plains, crumpled against bridge supports, or stacked in heaps. Some are almost unrecognizable, caked in silt and debris. Rescue workers check each one hoping to find survivors, but often recovering only grim evidence of lives lost. The personal stories behind these numbers are heartbreaking. One camper who had come with his family for a weekend getaway saw the floodwaters rising outside his window in the middle of the night. By the time he reached the door, the current was too strong. His wife and child were swept away before his eyes. In another case, a woman trapped in her third-floor apartment watched helplessly as vehicles floated past, some with people still inside pounding on the windows for help. The disaster also exposed long-standing weaknesses in Beijing's emergency preparedness. Residents say communication broke down almost immediately. Power outages washed out roads and collapsed bridges, isolated entire communities. In the crucial first hours, many survivors relied on their own efforts or on local volunteers rather than official rescue teams. By the third day, the focus shifted from rescue to recovery. The smell of decay grew stronger, and the need for large-scale disinfection became urgent. Health officials deployed teams to spray affected areas, particularly in low-lying neighborhoods where mud and debris had collected. But even as cleanup began, many families were still searching for loved ones. Authorities have maintained a tight grip on information, releasing only limited updates. Official statements highlight the scale of property damage, but rarely address the human toll in detail. This has fueled frustration among residents and observers alike. "We deserve to know the truth," one local said. "We are the ones who lost our homes, our cars, and our family members." Despite the restrictions, the story of Liulimiao's flood is spreading through social media, whispered conversations, and the testimonies of those who refuse to stay silent. It is a story not just of nature's power, but of systemic failures, inadequate infrastructure, questionable water management decisions, and a lack of transparency in the face of tragedy. In the end, the July 26th flood will be remembered not only for its physical destruction, but for the questions it left unanswered. How many lives were truly lost? Could the disaster have been prevented, or at least mitigated with better planning and communication? And why, in an age of instant information, must citizens still rely on unofficial channels to learn the fate of their own neighbors? For the survivors of Liulimiao and the surrounding villages, these questions are not abstract. They are as real as the empty homes, the missing cars, and the unclaimed bodies still lying somewhere beneath the mud. Tornado hits Zhaoqing, Guangdong, causing damage to buildings. On the afternoon of August 7th, a tornado struck Jinsheng Industrial Zone, Jinli Town, Gaoyao Zhaoqing City, Guangdong Province, causing significant damage. The powerful winds ripped off metal roofing sheets, sending them swirling into the sky alongside various debris. Several structures, including factories and shops, sustained severe damage, with roofs torn apart and roller shutters destroyed. A witness recounted, "The wind was so strong that I saw a large advertising sign get torn away right in front of me, crashing onto a car. It was terrifying. I've never seen anything like it." Other residents reported that items such as iron gates, awnings, and even trees were uprooted, creating chaos in the area. Local authorities promptly deployed teams to clear debris and assess the damage. The deputy mayor of Jinli Town stated that in addition to factory roofs being blown off, some utility poles and traffic signs were also damaged. Businesses in the area have been instructed to inspect their facilities to ensure safety and prevent further accidents or collapses. According to the Gaoyao District Meteorological Bureau, which collaborated with the Foshan Tornado Research Center, the tornado occurred around 3 to 12 p.m. on August 7th and was classified as a weak tornado. Despite its brief duration of 2 to 3 minutes, officials warn that extreme weather events like this could recur, urging residents to stay vigilant. Damage assessments are ongoing with a detailed report expected in the coming days. There is also the moral cost, harder to measure, but far more corrosive in the long run. Every time a family in Zhengzhou must choose between buying rice and paying electricity, every time a worker in Guangdong sleeps in a storage box to avoid rent, every time a grieving parent in Liulimiao is told to keep silent about their missing child, the bond between the governed and the governing frays a little more. The state's legitimacy, once derived from delivering prosperity and security, now rests on the brittle foundation of narrative control. In the years to come, China will face more storms, more economic shocks, and more public health emergencies. The real test will not be whether the country can build higher flood walls or stronger factory roofs, but whether it can build a system that values truth over propaganda, people over optics, and accountability over control. Without that shift, the disasters will keep coming, and each one will strike a nation less able and less willing to recover, less willing to recover, less willing to recover.